Okay, I'm Dr. Andy Love, and I am the professional tutor at Highdown School here in Caversham in Reading. And my role is to look after new teachers, ECTs we call them, and to look after PGCs, trainees into the profession. And I'm a science teacher and a biology teacher, and I teach GCSE biology and I teach A-level biology. My approach to teaching is biology is the ultimate personalized learning. We are so blessed in biology because we're studying the science of life that every one of our students that come into our classrooms is alive. And because of that, we personalize it to them, their curiosity, their cognitive understanding of how they work and how the environment works and the interaction between the environment. I feel very passionately, it's the ultimate in personalized learning. You can make biology relevant to every single individual that comes into your classroom. And that is such a gift for any teacher in this profession to have that ability. I will give you an example. On Friday, we were talking about transpiration in plants with my New Year 10 class. And transpiration, plants, you're thinking to yourself, okay, how can I personalize that learning? So we talked, our opening gambit was talking about, had any of them received flowers as a gift from a loved one? And none of them had flowers given to them. So I said, by the end of today's lesson, you're going to get a flower from Dr. Love, and you're going to give it to somebody that you love. And the idea of the practical was that they were going to take the white carnations and they were going to put them in food dye, red food dye. And they were going to we were going to teach all about the xylem and transpiration stream and how that red food dye was going to make the petals red. And suddenly, every single one of those students in that class was switched on to the idea that they were getting something by the end of that lesson. But what we did in the lesson was we took it one step further, and we modeled the movement of transpiration. So each one of them was a water molecule, and they all lined up along one edge of the classroom. One end was at the door, which represented the stomata, and the other end of the students represented the roots, and they all interlinked arms. And then when I opened the door, student X, who was by the door, who was by the stomata, they were going to evaporate and escape. And as she escaped, she pulled all the other students out of the classroom. So we introduced then the idea of rate of water movement in the plant as well. And it's that mixture of making it real to them, personalizing their learning for themselves, making it relatable through your pedagogy, through your activities, and then reinforcing it through further questioning and applying it to real life examples, I would say is at the heart of my teaching, kind of philosophy. There are so many. Natural selection, peppered moths. I had a lower ability group, and we were doing quite high level natural selection work, very conceptual, demanding. But do you know what? Making them onto peppered moths. Putting their learning onto a peppered moth, and some of the class had the grey peppered moth and some of the class had the dark peppered moth, but putting their learning onto a little peppered moth was fantastic in terms of their motivation and the concepts of their learning. We had another class where we had students, I gave them white ties because I like wearing biological ties, so I said to them I was running out of biological ties, so they had to make some new biological ties for us. And this was it was quite a year 7, 8 class. And they made these amazing ties. Here's one where they showed the flow of energy in a food chain. And what I love about this tie, I know it looks a bit dirty because I've worn it a lot as a teaching prompt, but it shows the flow of energy going from the plant through the food chain, and they've got the idea that energy is going down. You know, here's 10% is being passed on each time as it goes through the food chain. So you can get really to a dinosaur. You know, maybe that's why they're extinct. There's so many wins you have as a teacher. It's on a day-to-day basis, and that's what is magic about our profession. It is those wins every day, like those students that left on Friday on transpiration with their red carnation, and I was asking them at the door who are they going to give it to, but they were more interested in saying, how can we make it redder? You know, can we use other colors? So their curiosity has started to think and turn over in their heads, and that's magic, isn't it? As you stand at your door and say goodbye to your students.